Okay, I am so excited to share with you some ways that you can take these Google Forms that you've created and make them your own and make them something that is best for you and your students. So I have one of the possible Google Forms that you've bought open, and I'm going to kind of go through a few things on this page as well as the responses page so that we can look at a few things that you can change if you wish to. So you can add descriptions, or if you click on these things, you can change anything that you want, add images or delete images. We've got the text here, and then all of the questions. Some things that I want to point out are whenever you go to these questions, you click on it, it gives you the option to edit the question. You could delete the question if you decide that you don't like it. You could mark it as not required. All of our questions are marked as required here. Some other things that you can do. We automatically have the answer keys marked as 0 points. And if you prefer for your questions to have point values, then when you click on the answer key portion of the question, it will allow you to make it as many or as few points as you want to. We also have answer keys with complete sentences for all of these questions. If you would like to take those off or change them or add another correct answer, you can. You can also add answer feedback, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. If you would like to add a question, so I've got 2 true-false questions here. If you want to add another true-false question, you could click on the true-false portion and click the add question button, and a new question would pop up, giving you the option to type the question, choose the format that you want your answer. If it's multiple choice, you could add multiple options. You could make it required and then create your own answer key. For multiple choice, I would just click the correct answer. If it was short answer, when you go to answer key, you have to actually type in the correct answer. So those are some different things if you decided that you wanted to add a new question to what is already here. I'm going to delete this since it's not an actual question. So most of these quizzes have 2 true false, some multiple choice, and some short answers. So for these, again, the short answers are questions where they're answering a question. Sometimes it's an opinion related. For example, this last one, our correct answer is answers vary. So I'm going to teach you how to take care of that in your answer key whenever you're looking over responses and grading responses. Once you've got the quiz the way that you want it, once you've changed anything that you want and done everything that you'd like to do, I recommend clicking this eyeball here because that is a preview. It lets you see what your students will see. So you can see and make sure that the format is good. You can see and make sure that all of the directions make sense. And what I do when I go into preview mode, so you can see how many points everything is worth and go back and change it if you need to. And what I do when I'm in preview mode is I actually fill the quiz out and hit submit. That way I have a set of responses to look at and make sure that I'm happy with the way that it's graded. And I've already filled one out. I filled this out. I hit submit, and this is the screen that your students will see. It says your response has been recorded and gives me the option to view score. So when I view my score, it tells me, again, we've made this so that there's 0 points. So it says I got 0 out of 0. And it also says it's pending because the teacher has not reviewed the score yet. So if I go down, I can look at all of my answers. And I purposely answered some correct and some incorrect so we could look at both. So this one, true or false, the answer was false and I put true. So that's just wrong. But down here, I want you to see that anytime you have a short answer question, and you provide an answer key or answer feedback, it is going to mark your student's question wrong unless they type it in word for word the way that your answer key is written. So notice that I put false, which is right, and I put she woke up at 6 a.m., which is what this says, just in more words. So really, this answer is correct, even though I didn't put it word for word. And so you might want to tell your students to look over their wrong answers and look at that. And I'm also going to show you how to go in and mark it correct on your side of things. So then multiple choice, I've got some multiple choices, just right or wrong. And down here, again, the short answer, these are all correct. They're just marked wrong because they don't look exactly like the answer key does. So it's important for your students to look over it and see if they answered it correctly. So to fix all of these that are marked wrong, we're going to go look back in our original editing tab. Notice that at responses, this says that I have one response, and that's because I did fill this out ahead of time. So if I click on responses, you have a summary section where it shows you if I had multiple students, then all of their data would show up here. For questions, you can look at it a question at a time. I really like to look at the individual feedback section because then I can look at one student, all of their questions. So this is one that I got wrong. You have the option to give individual feedback. So if I click individual feedback, I might say, look at paragraph 2 to tell the student, okay, you got it wrong. Here's where you could find the correct answer. On this one, remember, I put that it was false, which is correct. And then I put something about 6 a.m., which is also correct. So what I'm going to do is I can click right here. And this wasn't worth any points because I didn't add point values to this, but I'm going to change it to 1 point here. And then we'll go look at the student scores again in just a minute. And then I might add individual feedback that says, great job, so that they know that they were correct. On a multiple choice question, it tells them what the correct answer was, but you might add individual feedback that says the correct answer was this because, and maybe give them some individual feedback so that they can see why they got it wrong. Down here, again, these short answer questions, unless it's word for word, it's going to mark it wrong. So she would be home all day, and that is what the correct answer is, just more words. So I would give this person a point. Then, because she got a puppy, she got her puppy and wanted to start training it, I might add some individual feedback here that says, make sure to use complete sentences so that they know, yes, you're right, but make sure to use complete sentences. So it doesn't have to be feedback where you're telling them that they're right or wrong. And I'll add a point there. And then this is one of the problems that we have at the end of a lot of quizzes where the answers vary because the students are talking about something that is specific to them. So I was so excited for my birthday that I couldn't sleep. So the person did what they're supposed to. So I'm going to put maybe birthdays are so fun. I hope that you had a great day. That way the student knows that you've read their response and you've given them something individual about that response. Let's see. Now that I've done that, I need to make sure that I save it. And now if I go back to my responses, let's refresh it and see if it will show up. So now it's showing that I got 4 points, which I only added a point value to one question while I've done this video. So that's why it's saying 4 out of 1. And if I go, I can now see the feedback that the teacher has given me. Look at paragraph 2. Down here, I see the birthdays are so fun. So that's a great way to show your students that you've looked over this and given them specific feedback. I want to show you one more section of all of this. I want you to be able to see your settings because everybody's different on their settings. I will tell you that I don't know if you noticed, but this quiz did not have a place for anybody to put their name. So if I'm looking at this response, it doesn't show me who took this quiz. So 2 things that you could do. Number 1, at the very beginning, we could say, go back to the questions. At the very beginning, maybe right here, we could add a name section and make it short answer and make it required. I won't do an answer key because there's no correct answer, but this requires your students to stop and put their name. Another option that you have, if you don't want to add a question in, is when you go to your settings, you can collect email addresses. And so that way you can verify which students have completed the assignment based on the email addresses that it collects. You can limit to 1 response if you only want them to be able to take it 1 time. You can also allow them to edit and see their summary chart. So these are some different things that you can change based on your preferences. On presentation, there's not really much on this that would need to be changed because we don't have sections, but you could change your confirmation message for your students. So if you want to tell them, great job, you finished the quiz, you could change this. I do want to say it's important that we leave this as make this a quiz, because if you don't make it a quiz, number 1, you can't add point values. Number 2, you can't have answer keys if it's not a quiz, because answer keys allow for the Google form to mark it as right and wrong. So we want to leave that, make this a quiz. You can decide whether you want your students to be able to immediately see their grade, which remember, I was able to view score immediately. If you click later after manual review, then they won't see that view score option, and you'll have the option to send an email to them whenever you have reviewed it. And then whenever they do see it, this is the things that they can see. So those are ways to kind of personalize your settings for you. I hope that this has been helpful. And I hope that you are able to make this Google form perfect for your own students. And if you have any other questions, please make sure to let us know. Hope you guys have a great day.